Hi there, my name is Phenexa, and today I would love to showcase the game called Echoes, which is developed and published by Novabox. They're introducing their game with this following text: follow the clues, question a cast of quirky witnesses, and uncover the secrets of the little town of Greenhearth. But the deeper you dig, the more you risk awakening Eldritch horrors. Will you crack the case with your sanity intact? Well, let's figure this out. It's already starting very nicely with this music. I write these last lines before I lose my mind for good. Ooh. I cannot allow the truth to die with me. Oh, the soundtrack is already amazing. I have to remember. I'm Inspector Ricky Fox. Reminds me of the game Memento a lot with the beginning. Arthur Petrovsky, his death. It was no suicide. And that's just one small detail of this case. The others, I can feel them closing in. I don't have much time before they... Oh, the blood? We're imagining this, right? We're just imagining this. My memory is clouded, but I have to remember. It all began 6 months ago. I actually wonder if I should put my avatar to the other side. I can quickly actually do that. We're wandering a bit. I was happy. I'd just been promoted to the rank of detective in a quiet neighborhood. I was married to a wonderful woman, Jody. What happened? We decided to start a family. Chris, my son, are you safe? And then the news struck us like a slug in the jaw. Our best friend Arthur Petrovsky was dead. Jada was inconsolable. Our ties with him had been pretty stretched since he'd moved to the other end of the country, but still we couldn't accept the results of the inquiry. Suicide? It was so out of character. On June 13th, we received his ashes with no explanation. Apparently, Jody and I had been listed with the insurance as his only emergency contacts. I need to find out more through the internal police files. I ignored protocol and even asked my colleagues for a few favors. Nothing checked out. The investigation had been led by a team from the bureau, and they'd locked everything down. Something about the case smelled wrong. What would the feds have to do with the death of a small-town doctor in the middle of nowhere? In a last-ditch effort, I picked up the phone and called Arthur's local police station. I got the sheriff, Jana Walter. She wasn't thrilled with the idea, but she finally agreed to let me take a look at the file. Even though it was in no way official, I fully intended to seize the opportunity to do my own investigating. I took some leave and jumped into my car. If only I'd known what was there, waiting for me. Echoes, Episode 1. Greenhearth. Arthur had lived in Greenhearth, a small town at the other end of the country, sandwiched between two nature reserves. It might have been a backwater, but the surroundings were magnificent. Great forests of pine and oak clung to the sides of the mountains that overhung the valley. The town was accessible by a single road that bypassed the reservoir dam, which provided the region's power before winding down to join the main street. It didn't take me long to find the precinct. A few minutes later, I was stepping through the door. Jana Walter was a frosty woman who didn't like a job poorly done. The first thing I noticed as I approached her desk were her arctic blue eyes that stared at me with disturbing intensity. Detective Fox, I presume. I'm Sheriff Jana Walter. Good to meet you. Well, that's why her eyes were also super blue. You too. Dr. Petrovsky and I were very close. His death, especially in the circumstances, was a big shock to my wife and me. As for the inquiry, look, detective, I understand you're grieving for your friend, but I assure you everything was done by the book. You can see for yourself. Really? Weren't you surprised that the Bureau was looking into this case? Yes, the Bureau took the case seriously. One more reason to trust their conclusions, don't you agree? In theory, this kind of incident was dealt with by the local police, except in exceptional cases. I was pretty sure the sheriff was aware of that, which led me to believe that she wasn't going to be very cooperative. I predicted that she'd let me take a glance at the file and nothing more. Well, anyway, I guess you must be pretty tired from your journey. I took the liberty of booking your room at the Golden Sky. Maybe you'd like to get some rest before you started? Let's not waste any time. Listen, it's still early. Let's not waste any time. All right then. I'm listening. Where do you want to start? I'd like to see the case file. Have you got any leads? What was your relationship with Dr. Petrovsky? Can you tell me about the circumstances surrounding the death? I wonder if I can take everything, or do I need to choose just one? I mean, this is not how a conversation works, but, well, I like to see the case file. Of course, however, I should warn you, there is not much to see. What does that mean? Most of the documents, like the autopsy report, for example, were requisitioned by the feds. Come on, I'll show you the few pieces they left behind. During adventure, Rocker Fox will have to search for clues on some scenes. A radar will appear on the screen to help you discover the clues. You can leave certain scenes at any point by using the quit button that will appear on the left, or by pressing this button. All right. Arthur's notebook. It might contain medical secrets, but Arthur had been careful and unconscientious. No names appeared, only initials. Apparently Arthur's patients mainly suffer from psychiatric problems. The most recent entry concerned an O and M. It was dated the death of his death. Just underneath, in a half page of nervous scrawl, Arthur had added, "The chimes rang out without a sound. They cast a strange tale in my head. I will become consumed by the echoes of their song." I didn't know what to think of all that. Everything seemed to suggest that Arthur had lost his marbles at the end of his life, which made the suicide theory credible. Maybe it was not even him who wrote that. It all seemed pretty fishy to me. The Arthur I knew had no history of mental illness. Arthur, what kind of scrape did you get yourself into? Between the magical jargon and that troubling message, at least I had the start of a lead. This OM, I just had to find out their identity and question them. If that would be that easy. Arthur's phone. His last call was to an Ernest Bull. The sheriff could probably fill me in on this identity. For that matter, the man may have been the last person Arthur spoke to before he died. The rest of the device's memory had been erased. Arthur must have made the call after he deleted everything. It wasn't much, but it was still a lead to chase up. That's all there was in the box. Do you have any leads? I'm just guessing. Do you have leads, or a lead or two? A lead. The file's been classified, so no, I don't have any leads for you, detective. No person of interest? You must have heard from some of the witnesses during the inquiry before the Bureau guys took over, didn't you? You could try talking to Raymond. He's one of the people I questioned after the death. Raymond. Just Raymond. Raymond Kowalski, but very few people know his last name. He's a vagrant. Do you know where I can find him? He spent his days hanging around the diner, downtown, the Greenhearth diner. I don't think you'll have much trouble finding him. Great. They'll give me a chance to grab a coffee. Although, can I ask why you think this Raymond is a person of interest? During the initial inquiry, several witnesses reported that Arthur had been spending a lot of time with him in the final days before his death. Obviously, he's been interviewed several times during investigation, first by me, then by the investigators from the bureau, but there was nothing conclusive. Raymond's extremely paranoid, and that's without even taking into account his mistrust of the forces of law and order. Of course, you can try talking to him, but I don't think you'll have more success than we did. I'm still going to give it a try, you know? You never know. You're probably wasting your time, but that's up to you, detective. Can you tell me about Ernest Bull? Who's that? Oh, he's the manager of the Golden Sky Hotel? The phone records show that the last call Arthur made was to him. I know, as you might guess, that lead took us nowhere. Bull's a busybody and a mischief maker. I'm not surprised he was meddling in Petrovsky's business, seeing as how he meddled in everyone's business. I'm going to ask him about it. You know where to find him? What was your relationship with Dr. Petrovsky? He was the town doctor. He had a lot of patients with serious psychological problems, some of them potentially dangerous. Like this Raymond you told me about? Exactly like Raymond. I see. So sometimes he'd ask me to step in. Arthur, was he liked? You see that when you talk to the townfolk, his death has been tragedy for our little community, especially for his patients. And did you like him too? The sheriff hesitated for a moment. Did that mean anything? We had an excellent professional relationship. I see. Can you tell me more about the circumstances surrounding the death? He was found in his bathtub, bled dry. That doesn't sound like the Arthur I knew. Considering the circumstances, the case should have been dealt with by the local police. Are you sure you don't know why the feds came in? We're both cops here. I can't believe you haven't got a theory. Jana Walter sighed. I moved closer to her desk, sure she was about to tell me something crucial. Arthur took care of some special patients. That's why a team from the bureau was dispatched. What do you mean special? I'm sorry, I can't tell you more. The sheriff pulled herself together. There was no point pushing her. She wasn't ready to spill the beans just yet. I see. Just one last thing. Who found the body? I did. You? What were you doing in his home? When he didn't show up at his practice, I decided to go to his apartment. That's how I found him. All right, investigate then. Question Ernest Bull, go to the diner. I mean, we already did, right? Maybe it's... No, never mind. Oh, never mind. We're going to the hotel, I guess. Located on the lakeside, the Golden Sky was a plush, lodge-style building. Jody, I would have loved to take you to a place like that. What happened to Jody and his son? The summer season had begun, but the hotel was still almost empty. Strange. I'd hardly gotten through the door when I was warmly welcomed by a plump man cheerfully trotting down the stairs. Ernest Bull, hotel manager. I recall a smile. Hello and welcome to the Golden Sky. Detective Fox, I presume? Glad to have you here. Good to meet you. I see you're well informed. News gets around fast in our little town. You can leave your bags here. I'll have them taken up to your room. Great. Can I do anything else for you? Talk about the call made on Arthur's phone. I'm investigating Dr. Petrovsky's death, and it would seem you were the last person he called from his cell phone. What did he say to you? Look, I won't deny he called me, but it was a private conversation, and I'd like it to stay that way. Come on. You can trust me. My lips are sealed. Bull hesitated a few seconds, weighing up the pros and cons. Then he finally said, I hope you can keep this to yourself. Silent as the grave. You have my word. All right. I just don't want this kind of things to get around. He wanted to book a room for him and a young woman, but they never showed up. I guess you can understand why I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to tarnish the good doctor's memory. How do you know who he planned to share the room with? That's simple. He asked me to show her up to the room if she arrived before he did. I guess he wanted to keep their little meeting quiet, if you know what I mean. I see. And this young woman, I'm guessing you know her? Bull waved me to come closer before murmuring quietly. It was Liz Cole. She's a waitress at the little family diner. Thanks. Okay, interesting. Go to the diner then. The little downtown diner was an archetypal meeting spot. The kind of place where you could find reasonably priced home cooking or grab a coffee before work. Most of the townfolk probably came and ate here pretty often, which made it the perfect spot to ask a few questions. As soon as I was through the door, I felt the eye of the regulars measuring me up. I decided to ignore them and took a seat by the window. I'd hardly sat down when a pretty but dejected young woman came over to pour me some coffee. The badge on her chest displayed her name, Liz. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the Greenhearth diner. Can I get you something? The house special is blueberry pie. I'm looking for a guy named Raymond. Did you have a relationship with Arthur Petrovsky? Oh, this is coming out of nowhere suddenly. I'm going to ask for Raymond first. I'm looking for a homeless guy answering to the name of Raymond. Do you know where I can find him? Oh, he comes in here a lot. I gave him coffee even if the boss told me not to. She gives a small nod toward an old man on the other side of the room. You got lucky. He just arrived. Thanks, Liz. I'll go talk to him. Raymond looked like a plain old hobo at first glance. But when you talked to him, you quickly realized that something about him wasn't quite right. He reminded me of certain people I'd questioned during my career. The kind of person who'd had it all at one point in their life before circumstances converged to cast them into the gutter. In any case, he was obviously nervous. What do you want from me? Just to ask a few questions. Questions? Questions about what, kid? About the death of Arthur Petrovsky. He committed suicide. Got a problem with that? Yes, that's why I'm here. Give it up, man. Nothing good come out of poking around in that. I was told you were close, you and Arthur. I'd just like to hear your version of the facts. What's it got to do with you? Don't you want to know what happened to him? He was my best friend. He was your buddy too, wasn't he? You're just going to get yourself in shit. This town, it's a nest of vipers. They're all snakes. There's not one who wouldn't be ready to plant a knife in old Raymond's back. And the Fats classified the case before you could blink for a reason. A word of advice, son? Watch your back. Well, don't worry about me. Why don't you tell me what you and Arthur were up to before he died instead? Raymond took a long swallow of coffee and stared at me. Okay, you're the cops, but you're not from around here, right? Yes, but... No buts. It's all over for me. But maybe you'll get somewhere. So I'm going to throw you a bone here. Perhaps that way you'll get off my back. I'm sure there's stuff in Petrovsky's place. I'd have a snoop around myself, but everyone's watching me. If I so much as move a muzzle, they'd be down on me like a ton of bricks. And old Raymond doesn't want to end up in the can, if you catch my meaning. I guess the sheriff didn't you give the address? He crawled it down on a napkin, set it across to me, glancing out of the corners of his eyes as if he were being watched. Thanks. Don't thank me. Nothing good will come out of a scratching around the steaming heap of shit. Well, we should ask Liz then. Liz Cole. Another coffee, sir? Well, I would like to talk about the relationship, maybe. I heard some information that suggests that your relationship with Dr. Petrovsky was more than a casual friendship. Can you tell me more? You're making a mistake. People are mean. That's nothing but dirty gossip. It's disgusting how people could think such things about the doctor. Are you sure there's no reason why people would say that? I am. I was one of his patients. That's why there are rumors. Arthur was always kind to me, but he was just my doctor and he's gone. It's just impossible that he... I'm sorry. Can we talk about something else? Thinking about makes me sad. I gotta insist. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, but how do you explain Arthur booking a room for you and him at the Golden Sky? A hotel room? I don't know. I didn't know. You have to believe me, sir. I didn't know. The doctor never said anything to me. I didn't know. I promise you. You believe me, don't you? She seemed distraught and sincere. Come on, there's no point getting all worked up. I believe you. Thank you, Miss Cole. She truly seemed to not know about this hotel room business. Another coffee, sir? Huh. Why would Ernest lie about that? Detective Fox, what can I do for you? Oh, I cannot do this anymore. Well, let's go to Arthur's apartment then. Arthur's apartment was in a well-located building in the town center. The police had taped the door, but it wasn't locked. It looks horrible. Is that a cat on the table? It is. I pushed it and found myself faced with a total shambles. Maybe I can look around. Oh, the cat. Arthur's old cat. It kept its distance and watched me. The sound of the little bell at its neck reminded me of the last time I'd seen it. It hadn't really taken to me, but with Jody, it had been put in her hands. Who's taking care of the cat? I made a mental note that I'd have to take it home with me when this investigation was over. I was sure Jody would enjoy the company. But every time I tried to get close, the cat hightailed it. Well, what else can we find? I'm not finding anything. Ah! A business card left by the manager of the Golden Sky. I'd been sure Bo was hiding something. A date and time for a meeting had been jotted down on the back of the card. He had some explaining to do. What had he and Arthur been up to? There were other clues to find for sure, but I decided to leave that task for later. Especially since the business card might well help me loosen Ernest Bolt's tongue. He's definitely hiding something. I also feel that. But I don't think it's his fault or anything like that. But why is he hiding this fact? Why is he spreading these kind of rumors? Well, let's talk about this business card. I found this card in Arthur's apartment. There is the date of a meeting written on the back. Can you explain that to me? Bolt's face, cheerful and friendly up till now, suddenly hardened. The reappearance of this clue seemed to hardly annoy him. Hey, come on. Are you kidding me? I've already had to explain myself to the Fats. Do I have to go over this again with you? You're in no danger talking to me. I just want to understand. What happened to my friend? Look, I promise you I had nothing to do with Petrovsky's death. It's him who came to me with the stuff about the belts. Belts? What's that supposed to mean? Petrovsky's had become completely erratic. All I know is that he gave one to Raymond just before he died. It's him you should be talking to. And you say this information brought you trouble? What kind of trouble are we even speaking of? I tried to tell the team from the bureau, but all I got was a warning. They made it clear to me that I had better keep my mouth shut. I got the message loud and clear, and I don't want to talk about this business anymore. All right, I'm going to talk to Raymond, but I hope you'll be more cooperative in the future. I've got nothing more to say, Detective. Oh. I figured he told me something important without realizing it. The stuff about the bells. Maybe that's what I was missing to get Raymond talking. Up till then, the investigation had seemed open and shut. I didn't yet know just how wrong I was. And now I'm just thinking back of the beginning of the game again. I was writing things down to not forget while the walls are kind of getting bloody. Well, like blood was dripping out of the walls. Huh. What has this to do with the investigation? Well, let's go back to Raymond. When I got back to the diner, Raymond was gone. Faithful to our post list, came over to greet me. Hello again, Mr. Fox. What can I get you? You want another cup of coffee? No, Liz, that's kind of you, but I'm looking for Raymond. Do you know where he is? Sorry, Mr. Fox, he left a while back. And you don't know where I can find him? No, I'm sorry. I don't think he'll be back here today. All right, thanks, Liz. You're welcome, Mr. Fox. Well, go to the hotel for the night. Raymond had vanished. It was late, and I only wanted one thing, a good night's sleep. I decided to leave the next part of my investigation for tomorrow. Resigned, I went to the hotel to rest and think. Clearly, there was something not quite right about this town. Arthur had been involved in something shady. I tried to reach Jody but got the answer phone. In any case, I didn't have much to tell her. It was too soon to have a solid theory about what had been going on Greenhearth. The hotel was comfortable, as it had seemed, and I collapsed into my bed. Well, and I think this is already the next day because it's seeing the morning sun. But I'm very positive that this game is building up a very, very intriguing case here, especially with the beginning. I'm still thinking about this one. And I'm curious to find out more, or maybe you got also curious about this one. In case that's the case, I'm pretty sure the devs would appreciate a wish listing here with Echoes, which is developed and published by Novabox. Thank you so much for trying out this great game with me. It's already very intriguing, and I really wonder what this Eldritch horrors are about, and if I'm going to be able to crack this case without losing my sanity. It seems like my sanity is having a very, very big impact here. So yeah, I like these kind of psychological horror games. So this is looking like a very interesting interactive visual novel to play through, actually. So yeah. Thank you so much for trying out Echoes with me. I appreciate it. And if you like the content as well, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe. Thank you so much for doing that. And yeah, have a nice day.